Let me take you back to the draft, because I would not have expected Bo Nix to be the 12th overall pick in the draft, but Sean Payton fell in love with him, kept it a secret, and then took what we will now call his guy with the 12th overall pick. What was your initial reaction when Sean and company took the former Oregon signal caller?
A fantastic pick. I got to call his game when USC came to Oregon last year, and what I saw was an accurate quarterback who also ran an up-tempo offense, which you're going to have to do, but also got rid of the ball quickly. He was about 2.4 to 2.8 seconds getting rid of the football. That's where you have to live in the NFL. And oh, by the way, the experience of leaving Auburn and coming to Oregon and continuing to improve, playing in playoff games in college football, that's a tremendous amount of experience that encapsulates the 61 games that Bo Nix played. And for Sean Payton, this is the first time really he has gone after a quarterback to be his franchise guy. And I don't think he could have made a better choice with the most experienced and the highest completion percentage having Bo Nix.
What's his ceiling in the NFL, Bo Nix? When you look how his game will translate from college, you mentioned the ups and downs at Auburn, then the success at Oregon, but now going into the NFL waters.
He can absolutely be a Josh Allen type player. Look, Bo Nix has ability to run, and people are going to remember, yes, he had some struggles at Auburn, but I'll remind everybody that's also where his father played quarterback in college. I don't know if anybody wants to do that, be under the shadow of their parents. He broke that shadow and continued to improve. But he's very much a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow type of player if he can stay healthy. And if that offensive line for the Broncos, who had their quarterback under pressure 40% of the time last year, if they can protect Bo Nix, he's going to have a tremendous amount of ability to impress people in just his first year. But you look 3-5 years down the road, the AFC West should be the most competitive division in the NFL for the remaining 5 years.
Talking to Ryan Harris right now, former Bronco, won a Super Bowl with the organization as we do preview the Denver Broncos for this upcoming season. Just because you're taking with the 12th overall pick doesn't mean you're going to start week one, but what number would you put it at right now as you get set for training camp, joint practices, preseason, and the likelihood of Bo Nix starting week one up against the Seahawks?
I think it's 100% he's going to start. And look, I was at a couple of the OTA practices. He was moving quickly. He was moving with confidence. And one of the things, Zach, when you're an NFL veteran, you look for how does that rookie operate? And most rookies are looking around trying to figure out where to go, not Bo Nix. He was ready to go in the drills, moving faster than veteran quarterbacks who've had more experience at some of the different individual drills that quarterbacks do in the NFL. But Bo Nix has clearly been working away from the facility to increase his ability as a quarterback, and it showed in the OTAs. A lightning arm that can get the ball downfield. He made some huge plays. Only got picked off, I believe, 3 times the entire OTAs. So this is a guy who's really preparing to start. And when I look at the field and I see the players playing, Bo Nix, to me, is the best quarterback the Broncos have right now.
But we know that Sean Payton and Drew Brees were synonymous for all those years. They had so much success in New Orleans. Then Drew retires. Sean doesn't have a quarterback. He goes to work for Fox, and then he comes back. Obviously, it wasn't going to work with him and Russell Wilson. That was made clear last year. But now it's okay. The Sean Payton era in Denver is finally underway because he picked his quarterback for the future. We'll see if it works or not. Where's your confidence in Sean now in this next chapter with the Denver Broncos with his abilities as a football coach?
I think he's a fantastic coach. Players love and respect him. He's honest to them. He tells them what they have to do to make the team. And when you build a culture like that, especially with the rocky road the Broncos have had since we won the Super Bowl in 2015-16 season, you're going to have to change the culture, and bringing in some new guys helps. And not only did he get Bo Nix, but he got Jonah Ellis, a really underrated defensive end, as well as Audric Estime from Notre Dame, God's school. And I'll tell you something, Zach, Audric Estime, the 5th-round pick, I kept the stat calling the games for Notre Dame last year. For 5 straight games, he knocked the best player on defense out of the game. So you add that to getting Josh Reynolds in free agency. This is a great uptick for the Broncos. But I will always put the caveat that this is Patrick Mahomes' division. So no matter how good Bo Nix is, it may not be good enough to win the AFC West title.
Now, I don't think they have a shot to win the AFC West this year because, right, as you said, the Chiefs, Mahomes, as long as Andy Reid's on the sidelines and Mahomes is healthy, they're going to win that division. But you look at that fight for the second spot. The Raiders don't have a quarterback. There's questions about Bo Nix year one in Denver. Yeah, you have Harbaugh and Herbert with the Chargers, but the rest of the roster has a lot of work to do. Who do you think is the second best team right now in the AFC West?
I think it's going to be the Chargers, and the biggest thing is going to be Coach Harbaugh coming in. I mean, remember when he was with San Francisco, I believe they outrushed opponents by 3,000 yards. And you put a run game for the first time in Justin Herbert's career and a coach that will run the ball on third down or 4th and 1 if you get there, and that drastically changes not only how a defense plays, but how much they got to get on and off the field for the different packages. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with the Chargers. I think the Broncos and Chargers are going to fight for that second and third spot. But I'm with you, Zach. I have no idea what the Raiders are doing. The Raiders are going to Raider. They've got a great roster with no quarterback. They got another tight end this year in the draft. It's a head scratcher for sure. But if any team's going to make you scratch your head in the NFL, it's the Raiders.
Ryan Harris here with us. You could tell where he played his football at during his pro career just based off that answer. When I look at the Broncos roster, Pat Surtain II is their best player. Do you think he's the best corner in the NFL in your opinion?
I really do. He's tremendous. He baits quarterbacks into throwing interceptions. And one of the things that I love watching Patrick Surtain II, he understands as a defensive back something that Champ Bailey taught me when I was his teammate. You don't have to defend the entire end zone. Once a wide receiver goes up the sideline, there's only so far he can go before he comes back to the field. Patrick Surtain plays that way. And what I love most, Zach, it doesn't matter to Patrick Surtain whether he's the best corner or not, or whether people think he is. He's going out to prove and improve himself each and every game. He's going to be a stalwart for the Broncos for years to come, and hopefully Broncos country hopes for his entire career.
What makes him better, in your opinion, than Sauce Gardner of the Jets?
I think Sauce Gardner gets away with a lot of grabbing, a lot of contact, and something that can occur during the season. But you see the Jets and Sauce Gardner get into the playoffs this year, you're going to see some flags on Sauce Gardner. Patrick Surtain plays with anticipation. He plays with knowledge of where his help is, and he takes chances on the football and rarely gets called for those pass interference penalties. So I think Sauce Gardner's a little bit grabby for my likes as a former offensive player, but both players are fantastic and such bright futures in the NFL.
Before we let you run, so you're a believer in Bo Nix, clearly. We just talked about Pat Surtain. What are the other foundational pieces that the roster for the Broncos have that you could tangibly latch onto and say, okay, these are some players I really believe in?
Well, Garrett Bowles, the left tackle, still one of the top left tackles in the game. They did let Justin Simmons go. That was a tough one and a head scratcher for Broncos country, as he is, I believe, one of the best safeties in the NFL. But they should be getting Tim Patrick back, whose back-to-back season-ending injuries really hurt the Broncos. And they also have a young receiver in Troy Franklin that has familiarity from playing with Bo Nix at Oregon. So this is a team that still lacks speed at receiver. You're not going to see speed like a Justin Jefferson, a Tyreek Hill, those kinds of things. They still really don't have an answer at tight end. Those are some glaring omissions, as well as middle linebacker. But they've got enough pieces to compete. And more than anything, with the long contract that Sean Payton has, he has to make sure his team is building to a championship level rather than leaping to a championship level in 1 year.
How much pressure's on Sean entering this season? Like, are we in a hot seat territory yet?
How can you be in a hot seat with $60 million guaranteed dollars still coming your way, whether you win or lose? I think Sean Payton's looking at this opportunity to do something new in his career. That's why he drafted Bo Nix. But Sean Payton, there's no pressure on anybody who's got $60 million coming their way.
He is Ryan Harris. Ryan, always great to have you on. Thanks so much for doing this.